Hello and welcome to the Falcon Focus Podcast. It is episode 30 as we welcome you on this Tuesday inside the Concordia Cafeteria. We're live from 9:45 to 10:15, live on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean and listen through iTunes. My name is Matt Menzl, and on today's show we'll be joined in our second segment by the Director of Athletics, Dr. Rob Barnhill, as we wrap up the 2018-19 school year. And hard to believe, only a couple of weeks left perhaps of athletics here at Concordia for this school year. But first we talk baseball with the sixth-year skipper of the Falcon baseball squad, that being Eddy Morgan, kind of to join us again here on this edition as they prepare for the NAC baseball tournament, the seventh consecutive year that Capco Park will host, and that begins on Thursday at 10 a.m. The Falcons will be in action at 1 o'clock against the Marian University Sabres. Coach, thanks for your time. And
absolutely.
You know, the Falcons come into the tournament 17 victories, 19 defeats overall, and finished 13-9 in conference play, tied for fourth with Dominican. And you look at the first now 36 games, your thoughts on the way this season's developed?
Yeah, you know, when we talked a couple months ago, we talked about our youth and inexperience, but how we were pretty excited about that. And throughout the season, some of that youth and inexperience have come about, and we've had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of adversity. As you know, in baseball, it's a mental grind. When you play 4 9-inning games on a weekend, a lot of at-bats, a lot of innings pitched, errors, weather not cooperating. And when you have youth, they just haven't been through that yet. With that being said, it's just been fun to watch a lot of these guys grow. Like I said, I still believe it. It's the most talented freshman group. Now, they're not all playing right now, but they've all had their opportunities to compete and win spots. I think we've kind of settled in on a lineup right now, the last week or so, of what we're going to move forward with. But the experience that they have gotten is so valuable for the future of our program. And at times we show spurts that we can play with anybody in the country and beat anybody in the country. And then at times we play like a group that doesn't know how to win baseball games. But I think they understand now what it takes physically, what it takes mentally, how they go about their preparation, the optimistic viewpoints that you have to have as a baseball player, and just how to manage academics, how to manage the weight room, how to manage their nutrition, everything to keep their energy levels up. And it was fun this past weekend because we finally started playing baseball like I know we're capable of playing.
So, you know, you look at the youth, okay, 36 games on in, and you mentioned the growth and watching them grow from day one to now. So have you been pleased with the progress then? Overall, would you say you're pleased?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't beat just throwing guys into the fire. I mean, that's the only way they're going to get better. And when you see them in the fall during our non-traditional segment, you see their athleticism. But a lot of times these guys just don't have the baseball instincts. They've never had the opportunity to, play that many games in a row. I mean, coming off Arizona, playing 12 games in a short period of time, and trying to figure out, hey, what should I do to eat here to get me my energy here, and how do I handle a 2-error game and be able to flush it and go win that next pitch and go win that next at bat. And so very happy with our progress. Obviously, we would love to have a few more wins on the board, but at the end of the day, it's twofold. My job is to win baseball games for this program, but most importantly, it's to help these young men grow in character through the game, and we see a lot of these guys growing in character, and that makes me feel pretty good.
Now, I wanted to bring up, and you touched on it already, that doubleheader on Saturday against MSOE, in which the Falcons needed at least one victory to guarantee a NAC tournament spot. Not only did you get that one victory, but a clean sweep of the Raiders. In fact, for MSOE, by being swept, even though they bounced back the next day against Wisconsin Lutheran, they will not be part of the NAC tournament, which is a kind of a story there because MSOE's had some success at Capco Park last couple of years. But what did you see from that doubleheader on Saturday? How were you guys able to put it all together for 2 games?
You know, it not only on Saturday's game, but the way we played against Whitewater, and we told the team, we've been saying this for a long time, is to beat good teams, you have to attack. You got to be aggressive, whether it's base running, whether it's hitting in positive counts. Like, you got to be aggressive, and you got to show it with your body language, and you got to show it on the field. Attacking baseballs on the infield, throwing quality strikes, and we finally started seeing that. MSOE is just scrappy. Flip does a great job there, and they're just scrappy. I think they were surprised with how we took it to them, and it kind of shell-shocked them a little bit. And that carried over to Sunday's game against Whitewater, where we scored 2 right away in the first. They knew we were ready to play, and it wasn't just going to be an easy game for them. And it's about just having the swagger, the attacking mentality in all aspects of the game. And it was great to see, MSOE was they needed those wins. Mm-hmm. And it was great to see our guys play with the confidence and swagger. And to me, Matt, we've talked and stressed a lot about the best version of themselves, and just play to what you're capable of playing, and be prepared. And we've seen flashes of that as the season progressed, but this weekend in particular, it looks like we put some things together, and we're hoping it carries over into the tournament.
Who are some of the guys offensively, in your opinion, that have produced some quality seasons?
Yeah, we've kind of established now the middle of our order. Tyler Haffey, a sophomore with unbelievable bat speed. We saw that last year. He didn't get a lot of opportunity because of Kyle Hilliard behind the dish, but he's really come on strong over the last several weeks and put together a lot of quality at bats. He's got enough juice in the bats to be able to drive the ball in the gaps. He's kind of that middle order threat that we need. Austin Dart is one of our reliable upperclassmen as a senior, and leads us in RBIs, and we know when runners are on in scoring position and he's up to bat, chances are pretty good he's going to put together a quality at bat. And that's what it's about, not necessarily getting a base hit every time. It's about cues. You and I have talked about that many times. But a guy that really kind of puts our order together, doesn't get a lot of accolades with it because you're a 9-hole hitter, is Christian Gerner. Mm-hmm. And at one point he was hitting like $125, and now I think he's up to 270. But he just kept battling, and to have a 9-hole hitter to be able to reset your lineup, he can just manage the barrel. I mean, he can bunt. He can put together quality at bats. He's not going to strike out. He's gotten some key hits for us when we needed it. And so those 3 guys in particular, all middle order guy, but also a 9-hole hitters, kind of set our offense.
You bring up Austin Dart, among 6 or 7 seniors honored during senior day during the Dominican doubleheader a couple of weeks back. This senior class, what have they meant to this program? I mean, they came in. They had to replace essentially a very large senior class from that of last season. Yeah,
leadership more so than anything. But seeing guys like Lucas Meerdink, who have been injured for 3 years, and we knew he was capable of being a number 1 type pitcher. He's 86, 87 miles an hour with a strong hook, and now he's competing his tail off. So see him and see him kind of how he molded himself a little bit after Matt Menzl, who's really grinded it out this year. He's got some injury issues. His shoulder's not very healthy, but he's still trying to grind through it, being his last year. And the leadership he shows with the entire team, and trying to keep us together when things aren't going well, and keep us humble when things are going well. Mm-hmm. Obviously Austin's been a force, and even guys like Eric Paz, who's splitting time a little bit at first base, is a tremendous character, and really tries to help the young players through his experience. But then you got Nico Kutulis, who's basically playing with a torn knee, and he's still giving us a few innings out of the bullpen, and to see the grit that he's shown is pretty special.
I'm going to ask you about pitching because you mentioned Matthew Olick, you mentioned Lucas Meerdink, now back from injury, Bradley Sumner, Alex Prickett, Ryan Green, some guys that are giving you some quality starts. Do you like how the rotations come together?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the conference, everybody's got a real good 1 and 2, and I would say we do too, between Meerdink and Prickett. I still believe if we can grind through the tournament, we've got depth. We've got a lot of arms. I mean, I could throw out and feel pretty confident with 12 to 15 guys. Now, are they going to dominate a game like maybe a Meerdink? Probably not, but they've all gotten a little bit of experience here, and I would feel okay putting somebody who's only got a few innings out there, just the way we've been doing some inter-squads during practice or some reserve games. and seeing some of the growth some of those guys have, I feel pretty confident with the pitching staff where it's at. And then you got a freshman closing in Bo, and how many freshmen can come in those situations, and he's been in some tough situations and gotten us out of jams. In particular the Benedictine game, where he came in, I think it was bases loaded and we were up by 1 and got out of the jam. So that's pretty special to see.
Yeah, Bo coming into the tournament with a total of 6 saves among the who's who in the conference. Overall, okay, right now, 36 games in, tournament right around the corner. What do you feel are the strengths of this team? What concerns do you still have going into this weekend?
You know, it's baseball, and one is can we play solid defense behind our pitchers? And Capco sometimes allows you to do that with the turf, and then also the marine layer, the wind. Sometimes helps your defense out. Doesn't help the offense out, but helps the defense out. I know that we're going to get quality strikes with our top starters, right? It's just whether or not we can execute the pitches when runners are in scoring position and make the plays behind them. It's all about freebies. If we limit the walks and the errors, and then we get a few big hits with runners in scoring position, we're going to put ourselves in a position to win some ball games and make a run.
And the tournament, that run begins Thursday. Again, 1 o'clock for the Falcons, a number 4 seed. They take on number 5, Marion, a team the Falcons split with during the course of the regular season. How do you assess that first match? Your thoughts on the matchup between the Falcons and Sabres?
You know, just looking at the tournament as a whole, CUC obviously has the most complete team. Aurora's not that far behind, especially with the offense that they have, and they've got a couple strong arms. And the rest of us, it's who's going to play well on that day. There's a lot of parity in the Midwest region. I mean, I can look over at the MIAC, I can look at the WIAC. There's a couple teams that are kind of a step above everybody else, but everybody else there's just a lot of parity, a lot of good Division III baseball. I think it's the best in the country, to be honest with you. But you know, we split up in Marion. Matt Menzl pitched a real good ball game against their big lefty. Both their top 2 arms. It's Piccoli and Bach, I think the kid's last name is, and they both know how to pitch, and they've been around for a while. They're upperclassmen. But if we put together quality at bats and you know, we get good starts from Meerdink or Prickett, not sure who I'm going yet on game 1, I think we'll put ourselves in position to win late in the ball game, and that's what we want. We want to be right there when it gets late. It's our home field, even though it's the tournament format. We may not be a home team, but it's still our home field. We're a little bit more comfortable here, so I'm looking forward to it.
Is that challenging from a coaching standpoint, trying to decide, okay, you don't want to look past that first matchup, even though it is a double elimination format, you want to get off to a quick start, but at the same point in the back of your mind, you have to play the what-if game. So from a pitching standpoint, trying to figure out what you want to do for a rotation, does that become challenging, trying to decide, do you go with your number 1,
right,
do you go with your number 2, do you maybe try to switch it up and hope for success?
Right. I want to win the tournament, okay? And you know, one of the questions is who are better matchups than absolutely throwing our number 1. Like if we know we're going to face, you know, if we get through number 1 and we got to face CUC, I might want to throw who I think is our number 1 in the second game and not throw him in the first game. And the way the tournament format is, you know, if you lose that first game, you don't play again until the next day while everyone else continues to play. So, you know, there's those factors into it. The weather will play a factor into it. To be honest with you, I probably know weather better than most, and I know how the wind blows at Capco, and I know some pitchers pitch really well based on their fly ball, ground ball rates. I might want to use those guys. You know, Oleg could be a factor because he's not overpowering, but he throws strikes and gets guys out in front a little bit with his changeup and his curveball, and he gets a lot of fly balls. So if the wind's blowing in from the north or northeast, I may go to him. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and sometimes it's just my gut instinct. You know, I wake up in the morning and I say, all right, I think this is our guy today. Sometimes I'll get a text message from a guy, hey, I want the baseball. Right now, they're all going to watch this and they're all going to text me and say
the phone's going to blow up.
They want the ball. So, you know, once again, I do feel confident with a lot of our arms, and if we've got that swagger that we showed this weekend, I think we'll put ourselves in a good position. So
is it as simple as that? You know, getting quality pitching performances, quality at bats, to winning a tournament like this. I mean, you look over the last couple of years, especially since you've been at the helm. Yeah. This Falcon team is a tough out. You guys have had some great runs throughout the course of the tournament. Is there more to it than just, you know, the baseball side of things? Is there a little bit of luck involved? I mean, is there, you know, the fact you guys know Capco Park? I mean, there's other elements to the success you guys have had over the last couple of years here?
I tell the guys, luck comes when you're prepared and you're confident. That's when you put together quality at bats and grind out at bats, and you're making plays, and you've got that optimistic view. If you're negative and you got that negative chatter in your head, you're not going to get lucky. But in a tournament format, especially at Capco with the turf and the weather, it does come down to who's going to get the big inning. And we basically talk about a team that scores 3 or more runs in an inning, their chances go up drastically of winning, almost at 85% clip. And then you've got the freebie. If you win the freebie war, if you limit your errors and you limit your walks, you're going to put yourself right in position to win.
Just finally, kind of touched on some of the teams that are in this tournament, the 6-team tournament. Outside of Marion, you have Illinois Tech in their first year as a member of the NAC. You have Dominican, Aurora, the defending tournament champions, and of course Concordia Chicago. And it seems like at times it's been Concordia Chicago North with the success they've had in this tournament. Compare this Concordia Chicago team to teams in the past. Is it a better team? Is it comparable to teams in the past? How would you rate this Concordia Chicago
Yeah, I think
squad?
It's their best team that they've had. They are solid 1 through 9 in their lineup. They don't make mistakes, and they put pressure on you once they do get on the base pass. They've got 4 or 5 guys that can turn singles into doubles. So if you don't control the run game, and really to me, don't let them on base, because they're going to move and they're going to put pressure on you and they're going to force the issue. And when you know that's coming, it puts your defense on edge a little bit, especially your infielders, knowing that you got to be a little quick to that ground ball. And it could cause a shortstop just to throw a little short hop, and there's an error. But they've got guys that can put the ball over the fence. The Mariotti kid is a true power threat. I think he's got 9 or 10 home runs on the season so far. But they haven't played at Capco either with that wind. And so sometimes that plays to an advantage. But the solid, their starting rotation is solid. They've got a bunch of guys that are throwing mid-80s that know how to pitch. Nothing overpowering. When we played them, we put the ball all over. We just couldn't score runs, and then we didn't play defense behind. And then we decided to walk 5-6 walks in each game, so that didn't help us out. But they've put themselves in a position to be one of the best in the country, but they're capable, like anybody, of being beat if they don't show up and they don't play well.
Well, it could be the Falcons and the Cougars on Thursday at 7 o'clock, but one game at a time. And up first, 1 o'clock Thursday, Falcons Sabres. Coach, best of luck this weekend. Thanks again for your time.
All right, appreciate it.
That's the head coach of the Falcon baseball squad, Eddy Morgan. When we come back, we are joined by the Director of Athletics, Dr. Rob Barnhill, here on the Falcon Focus Podcast.
When did our measurement of success in life become so common? Because as unpopular as it might sound, God never intended for any of us to live a comfortable life. He intended for each of us to live each day with a higher purpose, to go outside our comfort zones and use our gifts and talents in the service of others. That's why He created each one of us uniquely, remarkably, to stand apart from the crowd, to live a life that's actually uncommon. Maybe that's why at Concordia University, our students have never been satisfied with simply fitting in and doing great things, but instead becoming great people. And why our education focuses on not only developing what you know, but who you are and who you were made to be. Passionate, faithful, courageous. Because living uncommon means living a you-first life in a me-first world, which isn't the easiest way, but at Concordia, it's the only way. After all, doesn't the world already have enough common? Concordia University. Live uncommon.
And welcome back to the Falcon Focus Podcast. Only one more week of this show. That comes next Tuesday. We'll be joined by President Dr. Ferry. He'll be on with us from 9:45 to 10:15. We're live here from the Concordia Cafeteria, and we're live on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean and listen through iTunes. Now being joined until 10:15 by the Director of Athletics, Dr. Rob Barnhill, kind enough to join us. I know it's a busy time, but an exciting time as the school year wraps up and we celebrate what has been another successful year on campus for athletics. And I want to start there. As a student, you're counting down. It's exam week coming up, and you can't wait. You can sniff. You can start to sense summer's around the corner. It's kind of that way in athletics, too, where you're starting to count down. Okay, you have so many events left, championships left, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's summer.
The last 2 weeks of the season tend to be the most hectic. So just a snapshot of what we've been dealing with. We had lacrosse tournament last Wednesday and Saturday, the tennis tournament on Sunday. We hosted all of that. So then there's the administration of having to put the events on. Then you have to put them to bed. So you come back on Monday and put all those to bed. And now we've got the men's lacrosse team, of course, heading to the national tournament. So there's some administrative stuff that you got to balls in the air on that. And then the same thing with the baseball tournament. Although we've when have we hosted this thing? 8 years?
Seven straight year now.
So it's old hat. We know what we're doing, but you still got to do it. So yeah, to your question. Yes, you do start to look for, okay, when will this be over? So for all the seniors who have senioritis, I get it. For all the students who are ready to have exams over, I get it.
I know we've talked about this in the past, but for an athletic director, is there such a thing as an off season? Is there a summer?
Yeah, summer's it. I mean, the rest of the time you're going. You tell people all the time, starting in the fall until the summer, we're playing all the time. There's 3 distinct seasons. There's overlap on both sides of the holiday break at Christmas, and so we're constantly going during the school year. So the summer it's kind of pay yourself back kind of time. So I do enjoy that when it comes. Although in Wisconsin, that's the first week of August, and
right?
Then it's over.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Right.
But you look at the school year, the 2018-19 school years. You kind of look back, and again, perhaps look at baseball, men's lacrosse, and the NCAA tournament, track and field. We'll see how things wrap up. But when you look at this school year, how would you kind of summarize the success athletics had?
We talk all the time about our goals and the bar that we use to measure success, and that's finishing in the top 3. So for me, it's really black and white. If as the leader of your team, as the head coach, if you're or part of the captain leadership on the team, all you have to do is look at your record. Are we in the top 3? If the answer is yes, then we're meeting our goals and our objectives. With regard to athletics, there's a lot of other things that go that we look for in programmatic success. But from pure wins and losses standpoint, are we in the top 3? And the majority of us are, or we're hovering right around there. So I think it's been a great year. I was at the tennis tournament Sunday, and I had one of the kids. He was kind of dejected. They had just lost in the finals, and he said, you talk about being in the top 3, and he said, but in tennis we hold ourselves to a higher standard. So we're disappointed in finishing second, and I thought that was awesome. I mean, if that could be our culture, if that could be everyone's MO, I think we would be moving the needle a little bit with regard just to the athletic side of it. Otherwise, everything else has been great. I mean, we had a couple of issues early in the fall from a behavioral standpoint, but the kids are great kids, and the coaches run great programs, and on and off the field they do a great job.
One of the big events here in the springtime that fans may or may not know about is the Champions Dinner that the president puts on, and that was about a week or so ago. And how important is that, and how unique is that we have a president here on campus that has an event like that? And it seems like every year there are more and more champions that get the opportunity to go, get invited, and celebrate their accomplishments.
I think it speaks to the role that athletics plays on this campus. The fact that the president of the university will take time and resources to acknowledge the success of the student athletes goes a long way in explaining how important we are in the fabric of the institution. If someone were to ask you what is the role of intercollegiate athletics, it's to provide kids an opportunity to pursue and play the sport or sports of their choice at a higher level, post-high school. It gives all of us a common rooting interest. It allows us to build esprit de corps. It gives us an opportunity to compete, which I think brings out the finest in people. And he recognizes that. And having those dinners for those teams that that qualify is awesome. I think the kids appreciate it and enjoy it. It's a break from regular food service. I was sitting with Dr. Ferry's wife, Tammy, and I said the only thing that we probably need to do to make this a little better is we probably need to put little cards out that tell you what the food is, because it's a little more fancy than what the students are used to. So some of them are going, what is that? I'm not sure. It was bacon wrapped chicken, right? Ooh. But they didn't know what it was. All they saw was bacon. And so I don't know what that is. And so you probably need a little card there, cheat sheet, but it's good. We really appreciate the support that we get from them.
Well, one of the teams that will be at that dinner next year is men's lacrosse, and how exciting for you was it this past Saturday, the Midwest Lacrosse Conference Tournament Championship. Finally, the fifth time the charm, facing Aurora, knocking off Aurora, and now program first in NCAA tournament appearance. I
am really, really happy for those guys. Like you said, they've been in finals 5 times, and they've just come up a little short. Mm-hmm. Early. The game Saturday was a little harder than I actually thought it would be, because in the regular season, I think we beat them up pretty good. Yeah, it was a lopsided win. But hats off to Aurora. They played a great game. They've got a couple of kids that are just different makers. They got their best players played really, really well, and we had a team of kids that fought and played hard, and it was a great atmosphere Saturday too. There were a lot of people there. Great. The weather was great. Thank you. So that went well. I'm really happy for Mike and his staff. They've had a tremendous year. Sometimes when you're winning the way they're winning, you can tend to either take it for granted or lose focus towards the end, and they haven't. So the good news is they made the tournament. Yeah. The bad news is you're in the deep end of the pool now. When you get to this time of the year, nobody stinks. Mm-hmm. So they're going to Denison to play a really, really good team, and I'm excited for them, and it'll be a great experience. And it's awesome for the school to have representation in the NCAA tournament.
How special is it for you when you start looking at programs like a men's lacrosse, like acro and tumbling, when you look at newer programs that were added within the last 5-10 years, that they're finding this success relatively quickly when you look at athletics, the growth, and you look at men's lacrosse, they've been significant now, 9 years of existence, for about the last 5-6 years.
I don't think I ever stopped to think about it in those terms, but I am happy for them. I mean, the acro kids finished 4th in the NCAA or the acro national meet. For them to do what they did, I think we had a 3rd place finish too. Didn't we? The highest was 4th. We had a 4th, 5th, and a 6th.
Yep.
So I was happy for them. What I do believe that has been transformative is that we've added these sports, and what we've done is we've created opportunities for kids that otherwise never would have heard of or considered coming to Concordia to get a Concordia education and to be a Falcon. So when I look at lacrosse and I look at the roster, I can go down, none of these kids would have been here if it wasn't for this. And for them to come and have success and be getting a great education and being a part of the fabric of the school, I think it's awesome.
You're talking about acro and tumbling at the NCAA National Championship for a 2nd consecutive year, but the Falcons becoming the first NCAA Division III school to send multiple heats to the championship. I want to bring up softball real fast, too, because, it was a disappointing tournament appearance, but they still won the regular season conference championship, their first since 2002. But also what was exciting about this spring is the opening of Catalyst Park, and man, they protected the home turf. 11-1 at home. I mean, that's a great venue too to now watch softball at.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and a special thank you to our friends at Catalyst Construction for making that a reality for us. But they played great at home.
Yeah.
11-1. I was really happy for Steve and his staff, and really happy for the girls to win the regular season conference championship. I don't think any of us are over the fact that the tournament ended the way it ended. We had higher expectations, and I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment. But we can't neglect how great a year we actually had. And going 11-1 at home was awesome. I think we lost the first game. The first ever game against MSOE. Yep. The girl they had on the mound pitched great, and after that, undefeated. So again, it's an awesome environment for them to play. I'm happy that the seniors got a chance to experience it, and it'll be a great showpiece for all the recruits moving forward.
Also, quick news and note, men's and golf, they had a couple of top 10 finishers at the NAC Championship, and Nate Benjamin and Dylan Carvalho. men's and women's tennis. They competed in runners-up this past Sunday in Madison. And you mentioned it, okay, these last couple of weeks, Falcons are technically the hosts of the tennis in Madison. Now you have baseball. Even though you guys have done this on a regular basis, what does go into hosting events such as tennis off campus, but then also at Capco Park having 6 teams come here for 3-4 days?
It's one of those things that once the event actually starts, it's pretty much in the books. It'll run itself. Excuse me. It's the lead up and everything that you have to do prior to that, be it tournament manuals, dissemination of tournament information, seedings, doing the background SID stuff that those guys do with programs and rosters and brackets. There's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes that people don't see, and that's the stuff that we stress about, because the games themselves will take care of itself for the most part, but it's the back end stuff. If you're going to be embarrassed, that's where it's going to happen. But we've done it long enough, and I have enough people around me that are excellent that they carry a lot of the water, and they do a great job. So it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things where if you're doing it, it might get done right. So if I'd rather have my hands on it and control it than stand around and watch it, I guess.
Well, kind of like Eddy Morgan said too, with the baseball tournament, you're always watching the weather and keeping your fingers crossed, especially the last couple of years, hoping nothing gets pushed back. Now, some other news and notes as far as Falcon athletics go, big news, sad news, if you will, on Friday is that Dr. Tom Sluska stepping down after 26 years, a great job in 2.5+ decades as the men's soccer head coach. What has he meant to you? What has he meant to, Falcon athletics?
Tom has been a pillar of what it means to be Concordian. He's had tremendous athletic success. He is a perfect example of mission fit. He's been a silent leader, if you will. He's not a very vocal guy within the department, but he's old school, man. He's one of those. He's the last of the relics, teacher coach. That old model from back when we were a junior college and a small, tiny 4-year college, and he's managed to juggle being an excellent teacher and an excellent soccer coach for so long. And he's meant a lot to all of us. The good news is he's not going anywhere. He'll still be around, and obviously having the head coaching job still in the family, so to speak, is good. And I think Tom's going to continue to be involved in some role. But he will be missed on that front, but he will always be revered and always be welcome. So, hats off to Tom on a great career.
Yeah, and it is hot off the press that John Sluska is the new head coach of the men's soccer team, so keep it in the family. What made John, the next logical choice?
Well, let me say the first thing, what didn't get him the job is his last name, okay? When we hired John to be our full-time assistant several years ago, it was a logical move. And at that time, I wasn't completely convinced that it felt like as though that might be some type of succession plan, right? But at that time, I wasn't completely convinced that might be the right move for us. But what I've done is I've watched and witnessed John grow as a man, as a father, as a coach, as a tactician, as a recruiter, and I honestly believe he's deserved this shot. His loyalty to our program, his growth and maturation through this time made him the perfect choice for me to continue. So I'm excited for him. I'm really looking forward to watching him put his own stamp on the program. The name will stay the same, but I think it might be done a little differently.
And outside of Concordia, but conference-wide, the other big news that happened a couple of weeks ago is the fact NAC has added St. Norbert. They will join the conference 2020-21. 14 full-time members as Benedictine gets reinstated full-time next year. Illinois Tech, of course, joining this year. What makes the Green Knights a good fit for this conference?
I think their academic and athletic reputation in the Midwest is great for the NAC. We're going to now be able to trade a little bit on their name cachet, right? They're going to step in and instantly be among the top 5 schools in every sport every year. And I think that type of competitiveness will allow all of us maybe to up our game a little bit. I talked to their athletic director at a hockey meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I congratulated him and welcomed him because I hadn't seen him since the announcement was made. But he said, for us it was everyone's so excited, and we started talking about all the things that the NAC has done nationally that the Midwest hasn't done, and so for them, they feel like it's a step up in conference competition, and so I'm excited to have them. It's going to make it more difficult, right? Yeah. I mean, you brought another really, really good program into it, but that's okay. I mean, that's what we're here for. You can't shy away from it.
Mm-hmm. Finally, anything else on the agenda as you go into the summer, athletically, and then how about for you? What summer plans do you have? Any trips on the horizon?
Yeah, I've got family vacations, a couple of things that we're going to do as a family. I've got a golf trip coming up in a couple of weeks. I've got a donor trip where I take Matt Burrow from Catalyst Construction on a golf trip every summer, and we hang around and goof off and play golf. And my kids are old enough now that they're in the golf a little bit, so I'm hoping our family. Stephanie's Mother's Day gift is new golf clubs. So I'm hoping we'll play a little more golf. I've got to get my boat out so I can go fishing.
Now, is that a secret, or did you just let the cat out of the bag?
No, she knew.
Okay.
Yeah, she knew. You can't – there's not a lot of secrets. I first ever present I bought her, she took back. No, she made me take back. Okay? This is 30 years ago. I bought her a Christmas present. She opened it early and said, you got to take this back. So that was it. 30 years I've learned that, no, I'll ask if this is what you want, I'll go get it. Right? So there's no secrets. But just hanging around with family, getting to play some golf, do some fishing. What we need right now, though, I need everybody to do whatever you can do to make sure that we do not get rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We need it to be dry. We need to get this tournament in, and the weather would certainly help.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dr. Barnhill, as always, thanks a lot for your time.
Matt.
Continued success. And another 2018-19 school year now just about in the book. We'll wrap up the Falcon Focus podcast next Tuesday. Again, President Ferry will join us. We'll be on the air at 9:45. That's next Tuesday. Thanks to Dr. Rob Barnhill. Thanks to Eddy Morgan. Thanks to you for joining us. And that's another edition of the Falcon Focus podcast.